So good afternoon, participants. So, is my voice audible? Is my voice is audible? So good afternoon to all. So we are in the second day of 5 days Atal Online FDP titled on multi-objective optimization and product innovation through TRICE. And we are in the session 5. The title of the session is Evolutionary Genetic Algorithm, and it is going to covered by Dr. S. Sivamani. So, sir is working as lecturer in Department of Petroleum and Chemical Engineering, University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Salalah College of Technology, Oman. And sir, area of interest is chemical engineering, biotechnology, and optimization. So, sir has completed his PhD in chemical engineering in Anna University in the year 2015. SAR has having a academic and research experience of more than 18 years, and SAR has published 58 research articles in international and national journals, and SAR published 2 books and 15 book chapters, and he is also the recipient of project grants from IEDC, ICMR, and DOFAR Governorate, and also he has received more than 8 best paper award. Also he has delivered many guest lectures on research methodology and optimization. So on behalf of participants and on behalf of Sri Sharma College of Engineering and Technology, and also on behalf of Atal Academy, I welcome Dr. S. Sivamani sir to handle this session. So once again I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, good afternoon, sir. I hope my voice is audible to you.
Yes, sir, it is audible.
And my PowerPoint is visible, sir.
The PPT is visible, sir.
Okay, sir. So, good afternoon, my dear participants. And I would like to thank Sri Sharma College of Engineering and Technology, Delhi, for organizing such a nice program on multi-objective optimization through TRICE. And I would like to thank the organizer, Dr. L. Prabhu, sir. And I would like to thank the Department of Mechanical Engineering to offer me an opportunity to deliver a guest lecture today. And I would like to thank the management of Sri Sharma College of Engineering Technology and AICTE for sponsoring the faculty development program. So today my topic is genetic algorithm for optimization. So here first I will talk about what is optimization. Then I will give a overview on evolutionary genetic algorithm. So optimization. So first of all, what is optimization? The optimization is the act of obtaining the best result under the given circumstance. So optimization means in engineering applications, what we see, actually it is either to maximize the response or to minimize the response or to make the response at a fixed value. Okay. So for example, if you take any metallurgical processes or machining processes, it is the objective should be to achieve the maximum hardness and minimum surface roughness for a better performance. So here, so in other words, this optimization is also defined as the process of finding the conditions that give maximum or minimum value of a function. Okay, but here this genetic algorithm, it is developed only for the minimization function. This genetic algorithm is developed only for the minimization function. But if we want to, if our objective is to maximize the function, then what you have to do? So the minimum of f of x is equal to maximum of minus f of x. Okay, for example, if I have f of x function, okay, if I have f of x function, okay, f of x is equal to some function, okay, if I have f of x some function, if I want to maximize it, okay, so I cannot use this function as such, because as I told you in generic engineering, I can use it only for minimization. So what I have to do, I have to change it to minus f of x. You have to multiply by minus 1 on the right hand side and the left hand side, so that this maximization becomes a minimization. Okay, if you multiply the minus 1 to the maximization function on the left hand side and right hand side, it become a minimization function. Okay, right. So that's what the figure is saying. Okay, so see here, the graph, the initial value, it starts from here. This is the x, this is the value of x. Okay, as the value of x increases, the value of f of x decreases. Okay, and after some point, then again the value of f of x starts to increase. So this is the minimal or the optimal point of x at which the f of x is minimum. Okay, and if you see the reverse, for example, if it is minus f of x, okay, if you see here, I am starting with the same point of x approximately. Okay, as the x increases, minus f of x increases up to the optimal point of x, and after which again the x value decreases. So this curve, the f of x is increasing. So this is the maximal point. Okay, this is the maximum point of x at which the f of x is located. Okay, so here you can do the both maximization and minimization, but if the function is maximization function, then you should convert the maximization function to minimization function. Only you can do the, you can perform the optimization of any function. Okay, so the next slide. So how this optimization works? How this optimization works? So you take a simple function, f of x is equal to x1 square minus 2x1 x2 plus 4x2 square. Okay, and you assume that the optimal solution is located here. Optimal solution is located here. So for any optimization process, you need a initialization. Okay, so for example, I am fixing the initial value here. Okay, I am fixing the initial value here. So this axis is for x1 value and this axis is for x2 value. Okay, so I told you the optimal point is approximately located here, which is around 0.1 and 0.1. Okay, the optimal point is located at 0.1, 0.1 approximately. So now I am starting from here, which means that the optimal point is minus 0.5 and minus 3.5. Okay, I am initializing value x1 is equal to minus 0.5 and x2 is equal to minus 3.5. x2 is equal to minus 3.5. Okay, so after I initialize the value, the process of optimization starts. Okay, the first thing you see given, so first step is you have to give the initial value, random initial value. Okay, so there is no guidance for fixing the initial value. We can give the initial value randomly. So the second step is finding the search direction or direction. Okay, which means that from here, okay, this is the initial point, right? So here is our initial point and here is our optimal point. Okay, so now the optimization algorithm, it will decide whether it should move north or it should move east or it should move west or it should move south. Okay, so now according to our point, we started here and we have to end here. So our search direction should be towards northeast. Our search direction should be towards northeast. Okay, first of all, we have to find the search direction. Okay, our algorithm should be able to find the search direction first. So here, as per our algorithm, we have the search should goes towards the northeast. Okay, then next it has to find the step length. Okay, so the step length means from here again it should go how, I mean, what is the length of the step? That means, so first iteration will start. So this is the first one. After the first iteration, it may end here. After the second iteration, it may end here. So after the third iteration, I may reach the optimal point. Okay. So this distance is called step length. Okay. This distance is called step length. If the step length is high, then the number of iterations is minimum. If the step length is more, okay, if the step length is high value, then the number of iterations will come less, then the number of iterations come to the minimum number. Okay, and if the step length is less, always it goes in a zigzag way. It will not go in a straight line. It will not travel in a straight. Okay, always it go in a zigzag way. Okay, so if you take the step length like this, the very small distance, then the number of iterations taken is more. Okay, so next you have to choose the step length. Okay, if the step length is more, then the number of iterations is less, and if the step length is less, then the number of iterations is more. Okay, then at the end of each iteration we will check, okay, whether we have reached the optimal point or not. Okay, so if the optimal point is reached, then we say the iteration is terminated and we got the final optimal point. So if the condition is not satisfied, then again you have to start from the search direction. Okay, like this, based on the search direction step length, the number of iterations decide the move from the initial point to the optimal point. This is how an optimization works. So now we will see how the optimization problem should be represented. Okay, so the optimization problem either maximize or minimize, and we can maximize or minimize only the responses. Okay, here the response is f of x, and always the response should be represented in the form of equation. It may be any type of equation. It may be polynomial or linear or power model or logarithmic model or logistic model or exponential model. It may be of any model. Okay, so genetic algorithm or any optimization algorithm, it accepts all the types of equations. Okay, so subject to the constraints. So we are trying to find the minimum f of x value for which the x should be between -4 to +4 and x2 should be between -4 to +4. And here the input where x1 and x2 are the input variables. Where x1 and x2 are the input variables. Okay, and here the values x1 and x2, they are represented by the letter x, and it is called as design vector or input vector. So x is called as design vector or input vector. Okay, and f of x is called as objective function in optimization, and it is called as fitness function in evolutionary genetic algorithm. Okay, and x1 and x2 are design variables or input variables. Okay, and so this x1 lies between -4 and +4, and x2 lies between -4 and +4. They are called constraints, and these constraints may be either equality or inequality. Okay, so in general, any optimization problem, it may be maximization, or it may minimizing the value, or it may fix at a target value. Okay, and so the constraints may be either equality or inequality constraints, and sometimes the constraints are not given. Okay, so here I have given the constraints for x1 and x2. I told the value should be between -4 and +4 for both input variables x1 and x2. But in sometimes if you don't give this constraint, then genetic algorithm will consider from -infinity to +infinity. Okay, don't give any constraint, then any optimization algorithm, it will take the values from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, and the such are called unconstrained problem. And so this genetic algorithm, it is particularly developed for minimization unconstrained problems. Okay. Right. So next, I am into the genetic algorithm. Okay, so here the genetic algorithm, it is one of the evolutionary computational search-based algorithm. It is one of the evolutionary computational search-based algorithm that works based on the principle of natural selection. That works based on the principle of natural selection. Okay, so the natural selection principle of natural selection, it was developed by a scientist named Charles Darwin. He said that the two best parents can produce the best child. Two parents of best characters can provide a child of best child. So this genetic algorithm, it is based on the principle of natural selection. Okay, and it is a biological process which you will see in the next slide. And from the computational side, this genetic algorithm, it is developed by a scientist Holland in the year 1975, and it was developed in the University of Michigan, USA. And they developed this artificial intelligence algorithm. So they adapted the process, natural biological process. Okay, they adapted the natural biological process of natural selection. Okay, and they developed an artificial intelligence based approach. They developed an artificial intelligence based approach that is similar to the natural process without affecting its performance, without affecting the performance of natural systems. Okay, and as I told you, it is developed only for the minimization. Okay, and it is based on the biological principle which is called survival of the fittest principle. It was postulated by the Charles Darwin. Okay, so the Charles Darwin made totally 4 postulates. Okay, so the first postulate is individuals within the species are variable. Each parent has the different characteristics, and some of these variations are passed on to the offspring. Okay, so if the male parent or the female parent both have positive and negative traits, and there is a possibility of transforming the negative traits as well as the positive traits from the male parent as well as the female parent to the child. And after every generation, more offspring are produced that can survive. Okay, for example, before 2 to 3 generations, if you take, so the grandfather or grandmother, they had more than 5 kids, more than 5 children. Okay, and when you come to father or mother, they had 2 or 3 children. And now current generation, we have 1 or 2 children. Okay, because the more and more generations it come, the more and more child they can survive. Okay, so always during the older generations, the less number of children will survive. Less number of children have survived. Okay, and as the number of generations increase, the more the survival of the children increases. Okay, and the fourth postulate is the survival and reproduction of the individuals are not random. Okay, so now here how this genetic algorithm becomes evolutionary genetic algorithm. So this genetic algorithm was developed by Mr. Holland in the University of Michigan in the year 1975, and the evolutionary strategies, the concept of evolutionary strategies, it was developed by the scientist Young in University of Berlin. And when these evolutionary strategies and the genetic algorithm both were combined together and evolutionary genetic algorithm, and it was developed in the year 1994 and from 1994 onwards, it was used in a full-fledged manner. And the basic principle of this genetic algorithm is from Charles Darwin's principle of natural selection. So next one is the evolutionary genetic algorithm. So what is the difference between genetic algorithm and the evolutionary genetic algorithm? So what are the benefits? Why they have not followed genetic algorithm itself? Why they added the concept of evolutionary strategies to the genetic algorithm? So here, if you see the genetic algorithm, evolutionary genetic algorithms, they are good at solving big data problems, okay, and they are able to search large number of combinations, okay, and the number of iterations taken to reach the optimal point or near the optimal point, it is less in evolutionary genetic algorithm, okay. So because of these advantages, people started to use evolutionary genetic algorithm, okay. And in terms of applications also, they are very widely used in natural sciences, mathematics, computer science, earth sciences, finance and economics, social sciences, industry, management, engineering, biological sciences, and bioinformatics. Okay, if you see, you can say now this artificial intelligence and the machine learning is the time of this century. So during this, genetic algorithm has its application in almost all the fields. So in engineering itself, in our college, we are using it in mechanical process optimization, in the forming of building material composition, and for the power control, and for the chemical engineering processes. In our college itself, we are using this technique for in almost all sectors of engineering. So this is the process flow diagram of evolutionary genetic algorithm. So here, if you see, so first you have to start with the fitness function, then you have to initialize the values. So for our function, what you have to do, you have to randomly initialize some value, x1 and x2. Okay, it may be 0, 0, or it may be -1, -1. It can be any number. Okay, then after that, so for this value of x1 and x2, it calculates the value of f of x. That is called as fitness evaluation. So for the initialized random values of x1 and x2, it will calculate the value of f of x. Okay. Then after it calculates the f of x, it will check whether it is minimum value or not. Then if it is not the minimum value, then it will go for next step, which is called parent selection. Which means that during parent selection, it will go for another set of x1 and x2. It goes for another set of x1 and x2. Okay. And again, with that x1 and x2, it goes for crossover. Crossover means, so it will change. Okay. For example, by keeping x1 constant, it is keep on changing the values of x2. And by keeping x2 constant, it keep on changing the values of x1. So that is what we call as crossover. And then next, after crossover, it goes to mutation. Okay, mutation means here the both values are simultaneously changed. The values of x1 and x2 are simultaneously changed. Okay, and after the selection, crossover, and mutation, again the fitness is evaluated for the minimization function. Okay, and again it checks for the if it is the minimum, then it will replace the initial values with the new value. Okay, and then it check for the final value. If the final optimal value is reached, then the iteration is terminated and the final solution is reached. And if the final optimal solution is not reached, then again the process is recycled. Okay, process is again followed. Okay, so these steps of selection, crossover, mutation, fitness evaluation, and replacement, it is one iteration. It is called one iteration. Like this, many iterations take place to achieve the optimal solution. Okay, that we will see. I will show you how to run this genetic algorithm in MATLAB. Okay, so next, so the first one is initialization. Okay, so in this process flow diagram, the first process is initialization. Okay, so in this initialization, there are two primary methods are there. One is random initialization, another one is heuristic initialization. So always here, even though the two primary methods of initialization are available, but people are normally prefer random initialization, because for heuristic initialization, you should have a clear understanding of the process. Okay, but normally the optimization is done only for the clear understanding of the process. After optimization only we will get clear understanding of the process. But if you want to initialize through heuristic method, then you should have the prior knowledge on the process. So it is mostly not possible. So normally the people choose random initialization method. Okay. Second step is fitness function. Okay. So here the fitness function, always if you have any set of values between input and output, then you should have a function that relates input and output variable. Just by having only the input values and output values, you cannot do the optimization. So if you want to do the optimization by evolutionary genetic algorithm, then definitely you need a fitness function. A fitness function is nothing but a mathematical function or algebraic function. Okay, as I told you before, it may be any type of function. It may be logistic or exponential or power or logarithmic or polynomial or quadratic, sorry, or linear. Any model it can be. Okay, and so here the initialized values are substituted in the fitness function and they search for the optimal solution. Okay, and to reach the optimal point from the initial point, there are three operators are used in evolutionary genetic algorithm. The first operator is reproduction or selection. The second operator is recombination or crossover. And the third operator is mutation. Okay, that is what you have seen here. The first operator is selection, second operator is recombination or crossover, and the third operator is mutation. So first of all, we will see what will happen in selection. Okay, so the selection, it is also called as parent selection. Okay, as I told you already. So this Charles Darwin's principle, it is based on the best child can be obtained only from the, okay, the best child can only be obtained from the best parents. So here what he say, the best parents, male and female parents. So male and female parents without negative traits only can produce the children with without negative traits. Okay, so you have to select the best parents, which means that what he say, so what Charles Darwin or Holland says, that you have to select the best initial value, even though it is random. Okay, by using your mathematical knowledge, you should choose the best initial value, so the optimal point can be reached easily. Okay, that is in lesser iterations. Easily means in lesser iterations. Okay, and this methods of selection, it is totally 4 types. They are fitness proportionate selection, tournament selection, rank selection, and random selection. And in fitness proportionate selection, there are 2 types. One is Rowlett wheel selection, and the another one is stochastic universal sampling. Okay, and this fitness proportionate selection, two subcategories, that is Rowlett wheel selection and stochastic universal sampling. So they can be used only for positive fitness values. Okay, but in minimization, we will have negative values also. Okay, so for negative values of f of x, this fitness proportional selection cannot be used. Okay, and this tournament selection and rank selection, they can be used for both positive and negative fitness values. Okay, and this random selection, it is one of the type, it is considered as one of the method of selection, but normally it is not at all advised to use this random selection. Okay, so next, so in the fitness proportionate selection, there are two types. One is Rowlett wheel selection and the other one is stochastic universal sampling. So here I select randomly, okay, randomly some value of x1 and x2, and I calculate f of x. Okay, for example, I am taking value of a. Okay, for example, I am taking initially 2, 2, 1, 2. Okay, then I will get some value, fitness value. Then I take another b. Here I want to take -1 and +1. Okay, and get some value. So I get c. So I take another combination of x1 and x2. Okay, then I get some value. Okay, like this, I can choose any number of random combinations. Okay, and for each random combination, the fitness value should be calculated. So see here, the each combination is represented by each alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, and for each combination of x1 and x2, they got one fitness value. Okay, and they got one fitness value. Okay, so for this fitness value, this pie chart is drawn. For this fitness value, this pie chart is drawn. I hope all of you know the concept of pie chart, right? The pie chart is drawn by taking this individual value divided by the total value. Individual value divided by value expressed in terms of percentage. Okay, and it will plot the graph between this alphabet with this each combination and the percentage. Okay, so here the pie chart is drawn and you have to fix one pivot. You have to fix one random place. Okay, then what you have to do, you have to spin this Rowlett wheel. You have to spin this Rowlett wheel in a clockwise direction. You have to spin this wheel in a clockwise direction. After it spin, okay, it stops at one point in the fixed point. Okay, so for example here, okay, for example here it stopped at D. Okay, see the notations given here. Okay, so the orange color is for D. So the Rowlett wheel, it suggests us to choose D as the parent. Okay, so you have to take the combination for D and you have to start the next operation, that is crossover or recombination. Okay, so this is the principle behind the Rowlett wheel selection. Okay, and here the value with highest fitness value has the most probability of getting selected for the crossover. Okay, if you see here, the A has the highest fitness value. Okay, and F has the lowest fitness value of 0.3. Okay, F has the lowest fitness value of 0.3. So A has the most probability of getting selected during this Rowlett wheel selection, and F has the least probability of getting selected for the crossover operation. Okay, and the stochastic universal sampling, it is just similar to the Rowlett wheel selection. Okay, but instead of having one fixed point in the Rowlett wheel selection, here you can have two fixed points. Here you will have two fixed points. Okay, so you will have two parents. You will get two parents. Okay, so here the A and D are the parents here. Here this method allows us to choose A and D as parents. Okay, so you can choose anyone in the first and anyone in the second. If you want to test first the A chromosome, then you can try the A chromosome. And if you feel that no, I want to try with the D chromosome, then you can try it with the D. Okay, for the first iteration you will start with A, and for the second iteration you will start with D. Okay, right. And these two methods, this Rowlett wheel selection and stochastic universal sampling, they are based on fitness proportionate selection. Why it is called as fitness proportionate selection? Because the chromosome with highest fitness value gets the more probability of getting selected for the next operation. So here, since the possibility of selection is directly proportional to the fitness value, they are called as fitness proportionate selection. Okay, under this principle of Rowlett wheel selection and the stochastic universal sampling, it was developed based on the casino. Okay, I hope all of you heard about the casino game. It is just it is just analogous to the casino game that is more popular in Las Vegas, America. So the next selection methods are tournament selection, rank selection, and random selection. So tournament selection, rank selection, and random selection. Okay, so here if you see, so you can compare any two randomly. Okay, you can compare any two chromosomes randomly. Okay, so for example, here I want to compare randomly first 1 and 2. Okay, so the first chromosome fitness value is 1, and for the second chromosome A, fitness value is 5. So which one is having highest value? That chromosome I have to select. So when I compare Q and A, I got A has the highest fitness value. So I chose randomly, it is at A. Okay, then again I'm coming down. Okay, then randomly I want to compare E and F. Randomly I want to compare, sorry, not E and F. I want to compare E. I want to compare E and U. I want to compare E and U. Okay, so when I compare E and U, then I got E has the highest fitness value, and randomly I have chosen the E chromosome. Okay, so then again I wanted to compare T and I. I wanted to compare T and I. Again, the T has the highest fitness function, so I chose T. Okay, and then I compare this A, E, and T. So from the randomly chosen, then I compare A, E, and T. So among these A, E, and T, okay, E and T has the same fitness value of 2, and A has the highest fitness value of 5. So I chose A. Okay, so I chose A. Okay, so like this, the tournament selection works. So next one is rank selection. It is also just like Rowlett wheel selection or stochastic uniform sampling method, but here you can see the difference. Okay, this area, this fitness value, there you can see one is very high, other one is very low. Okay, but here you can see almost all the chromosomes have almost same area. Okay, all the chromosomes have almost same area. Okay, so if the fitness values of randomly initialized values are very closer to each other, then we can choose rank selection. Okay, if the fitness values of randomly initialized values are closer to each other, then rank selection can be used. Okay, right. So, and as I told you already, the random selection is considered as one of the one of the methods of parent selection, but it is not at all recommended for the practical use. So the next one is crossover. Okay, the first operation selection is finished now. So now we are going to the crossover. Okay, here the crossover means, so actually we have one set. For example, x1 is -2, x2 is -2, and f of x is one value. Okay, so x1 is -1, x1 is +1, and I have some value of f of x, and another value 0, 3, and I have some value of f of x. Okay, so here crossover means, for example, I want to minimize the function. Okay, but here I got the maximum value. Okay, here I got the minimum value, and here I got the average value. Okay, not the maximum and not the minimum. The average value means it is a value between maximum and the minimum. Okay, so what I do, I make a crossover here. Crossover means, so I want to get the value still more minimum. Okay, so I neglect this because it is already the minimum value. So now I want to search whether I will get still more minimum or not. So for that, what I have to do, I am going crossover. That is 1 point crossover means I take the 2, 2 here and 3, 2 here. That means I try the next iteration with -2 and +3 and 0 and +2. Okay, again I am finding the f of x for this combination. Okay, now I am seeing whether this is the minimum of this value or not. Okay, so like this, the crossover operation is done. Okay, so if you have done at only one place, then it is called as 1 point crossover. Okay, see here. So here they have chosen this place. So this 3, 5, 7, 8 goes to the top chromosome, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 joins the bottom chromosome. Okay, so that is what it is happened here. Okay, and if the problems are complex, if the system is very complex, okay, if the fitness function is very complex or difficult, then you may have to choose multi-point crossover. Then you have to use multi-point crossover, which means that you will do the crossover at 2 points. Okay, 2 points means, so this extreme left hand side and the extreme right hand side stay at, and only the crossover takes place between at the center place. Okay, or you can keep the center place at the fixed, and you can make the crossover on the left hand side and the right hand side. Okay, it all depends on the difficulty level of the problem. Okay, so the third type is uniform crossover. Okay, so the uniform crossover means, see here, so the first place they change and the third place they change. So randomly they make the crossover, not at the one specific point. Okay, not at the specific point. So which means that they make randomly 5 locations, they will change. Okay, if you see totally 10 values on the top and 10 values at the bottom, here if you see they have changed at the 5 values. So randomly any 5 values. Okay, that is what we call as uniform crossover. And the whole arithmetic crossover, so here what they do, take the average of these two. Average of 0.1 and 0.2 is 0.15 and 0.15. Okay, like this they do for each cell. Okay, average of 0.1 and 0.3 is 0.2 and 0.2. So like this, they make the chromosome of both are same. Okay, so that the operation may be easier. So the last genetic algorithm operator, which is called as mutation. Okay, which is called as mutation. It is also just like single point and double point, sorry, multiple point crossover. Okay, here the bit flip mutation means, so yes. So now our value, we have represented our problem in real values. Okay, for example, in x1 and x2, -2 and +2, -1 and +1, like that we have represented in terms of real numbers. But and it can be performed by doing binary representation also. Binary representation means all the numbers are changed into 0 and 1. Okay, 0 and 1, binary representation. And in such case, what they do, if it is 1, then they will change it to 0. If it is 0, then they change it to 1. So by making this bit flip mutation, they will proceed with the algorithm optimization. Okay, or they do swap mutation. So swap mutation means, you know, right? So they replace one another randomly. So next one is scramble mutation and inverse mutation. Next one is scramble mutation and inverse mutation. So here the scramble mutation means randomly selecting any 5 points. Okay, any 5 points, and randomly it was changed. Okay, either put first number to the third post or fourth position to the second number, like this, randomly interchanging the numbers. Okay, combinations. But inverse mutation means the same principle like scramble mutation, choose the half of the chromosome and exactly inverse. Here it is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here it becomes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, in inverse mutation, it should be regularly mutated. Okay, from the first to the last and the last to the first. Okay, but in scramble mutation, it was done randomly. So now what are the various advantages? Okay, so normally in deciding the iteration, most of the algorithms are based on derivative functions. First derivative, for example, dy by dx or y by dx square. Okay, but it is not, evolutionary genetic algorithm is not based on derivative algorithm. So what is the advantage here means, any algorithm based on derivative function takes more iterations. So it means that the EGA does not depend on derivative function. It means that it takes less iterations when compared with other algorithms. Okay, and it is faster, more efficient when compared to the traditional methods, and it has very good parallel capabilities, and it is used for the optimization of both continuous and discrete fitness functions, and then also it is used also for single objective and multiple objective problems. Okay, and if we want multiple solutions also, it will give. Okay, it is not only a single solution, it give optimal solution as well as near to the optimal solution also it can give. And whenever you run randomly the iterations more and more, you will get more and more best answer. For example, I run 100 iterations. Okay, I get one answer, and again next time I run it, coming 120 iterations, then again I will get the best solutions when I run again and again. Okay, so it is more useful when the search space is very large and that more number of data is involved. Okay, and of course, like more advantages, it has limitations also. So this GA is not suitable for all the problems. Even in my experience, if I try for 10 problems, it work only for 9 problems. One problem it will not work. Okay, because some problems they work only for the derivative based algorithm. So for such problems, this algorithm cannot be used. Okay, and fitness value should be correct. If your fitness function should be formed correctly so that the fitness value will come correct. If the fitness value is not calculated correctly, then there is no use of getting the optimal point by algorithm. Okay. And as I told you, sometimes it may not reach to the exact optimal point. Sometimes it gives you the nearer optimal point. So these are some of the limitations of EGA. Okay. And if not implemented, if the pseudocode is not followed properly, then there will be a difficulty in arriving at the optimal solution. So these are the very specific limitations of EGA. Okay. I think time is up. Okay. So again, now it is the time to thank my side approvals. I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor of University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Oman. I would like to our college dean, Assistant Dean Academic Affairs, Head of the Engineering Department, for their full cooperation and support for carrying out the research in University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Oman. So this is my WhatsApp. I am using Indian number as WhatsApp, and call I am using the Oman number. This is my email ID, my website, and ResearchGate for Google Scholar, Scopus, everything. Okay, and I would like to thank the participants for their patience listening. Okay, so thank you, the organizers, and thank you very much.
So dear participants, now the session is open to questions. If you have any questions, you may ask the relevant to the topic. Yes. So the session was interesting, sir. You gave a detailed information about the evolutionary genetic algorithm, and surely it will support, and the participants, they may use it for their research work and other ground level problems. And with this, I would like to thank Dr. Sivamani sir for spending his valuable time and sharing his knowledge towards the topic. And on behalf of the institution and Atal Academy, on behalf of the participants, I would like to thank once again for spending your time, sir. I also thank the participants for the effective participation. Once again, I thank you all. And with this, the current session will be wind. And the next session, it will start by 2:30, and the details will be shared in the WhatsApp number. So thank you for joining this session. Thank you, sir.
So actually, genetic algorithm is used for optimization. So we have to, actually, I thought of showing it in MATLAB, but actually the time is not there. I have another meeting at 1 o'clock. So I am running for that. So if you have any doubt, please contact my email. Thank you. I gave my email ID in the chat box. For any further queries, please contact my email. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you for it.